Oh my goodness, guys. I am so excited for you guys to meet Krew. Krew is a 6-year-old boy that stole my heart one Saturday morning. What do I mean by that? Well, I was just surfing through Facebook and I came across this reel of this little boy in the back seat in a booster seat talking to his mama about what happened at school that day. And for any parents out there, you will really love this. Like over 1.1 million people did. Yes, that's right. 1.1 million people viewed this reel in 2 weeks. And it really spoke to their heart. And why it did, I think, so much was number one, when you ask your kid how was school, they usually give you one-word answers. But boy, Krew goes on a narrative about what happened. And what he exhibited was courage. And I think that's what really spoke to people so much, was that here's this little boy standing up for girls on the playground and what he had to say about it. Now, I know most of my audience here, you guys are listening to it on audio, so you're not going to fully appreciate his facial expressions. But let me just play this clip. I think I might even play it twice, just so you guys get the essence of this little boy. It's a very short clip. And then we're going to talk to him. I'm so excited to talk to him and his mama today. So here we go. Here is the clip.
Why? What did you say to him?
What you
Okay, we'll play that clip again a little bit later so you can, hear him tell the story again. It's a very short clip, but I received so many comments, guys, thousands of comments I received. And this is what some of them had said. And I thought this one really spoke out. We aren't allowed to do really anything as a teacher or aides in public schools or even private. You can't touch kids and you can't put them in timeout. So how are we supposed to resolve that? If we aren't supposed to separate the kids physically or stop the kid physically from harassing the girls, and we can't put them in any form of timeout, let the other kids solve it and practice conflict resolution. I completely agree with that. And we'll get into more of why I feel that way. But here's another one. So what I'm hearing is him and Elliot was security on the playground at recess and taught the little boy with the orange shirt a lesson because he was touching the little girls without their permission. We need him and Elliot at every park. LOL. Isn't that the truth? Another one. I wish he could be the spokesperson for all school bullies. He is every little girl's hero. What a great kid. Awesome job, mama. And another one. I wanted to say no violence for kids, but that declaration of, I'm going to fight you, this little man knows how to take care of business. And you certainly do, Krew. I thank you so much for your courage. and I am so excited to have you here on Nurses Out Loud. My name is Jody O'Malley, and it's wonderful to meet you.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Well, thank you. And nice to meet you, Kiersten.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you
Yeah.
for having us.
Yeah, I think it was probably a few days when it was going viral, and you commented, "That's my little boy. He's 6 years
Mhm.
old and he's amazing." And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, I need to interview the mama here. We
Yeah.
need to talk.
Yeah.
So tell me what was going through your mind as Krew is telling you his story.
So at first, he started the story once before I got my camera out, and he said, "Me and Elliot beat up this kid at school today." And I was like, "Okay, let me get my camera out before you tell the story, because I need to make sure like what you say is what I hear and whatnot." So then he started recording, and it went not the way that I thought it was going to. He's a very I mean, he never gets in trouble. He's all A student. He got student of the month I think 2 months into first grade. He's very, very well behaved. But in kindergarten he went to a different school, and there was a lot of bullying going on. He got bullied really bad. So I thought it was going to be another one of those. It ended up not. And I was just proud after he said it. I was like, yeah, that's my baby. Like, I'm so proud to be his mom.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, Krew, do you want to talk about what happened in kindergarten with you?
When that kid was being mean at Clark's Creek, but don't say his name. We don't have to say his name. You can just say a kid. She's asking you what happened.
Do you
So-
remember what happened?
Not really.
No,
Not a
He
whole
did-
lot.
wasn't very nice to Krew, and
Mhm.
every day Krew would come home crying, and I said something to the school multiple times, and nothing was ever done. So then I messaged the little boy's mom on Facebook, because I figured I had to take matters into my own hands. And Krew missed so much school because he was a car rider, and we would be in the drop off line, and he would just be like hyperventilating, crying, like he did not want to go to school. So I didn't make him, because he's in kindergarten. That's not,
Yeah.
that should not be a thing, and it shouldn't be a thing ever, but especially in kindergarten. And when the school doesn't do anything about it, we moved schools, and he's had a way better year in first grade. He's going back to that school next year for second grade. And we really like this school a lot. And the first time there was an incident in first grade when a little kid smacked him in the back of the neck. It was during class, and the principal was called, and Krew went and told a teacher. He didn't retaliate or anything. He went and told a teacher. And this situation, I guess he just took matters into his own hands. but I can't even be mad at him, because it was for a good cause. So
Yes, absolutely. Krew, were you afraid to step in when that little boy was messing with the girls on the playground?
Not really.
No, tell me why. What were you thinking? What were you feeling?
Feeling good about it.
feeling good about it.
You felt good about it. Yeah. So what was he doing to the little girls?
Well, he was grabbing them and pulling them everywhere.
Okay. And had he done that before, or was this the first time?
That was the first time that he ever done it.
Okay. Was he always putting hands on people, or was that
Yeah.
not? He was. Okay. So you had witnessed his behavior, and you had watched him do this. And this day, you and Elliot were like, I'm not having it anymore.
Had enough.
Yeah. And maybe because you were bullied a little bit in kindergarten, and you were thinking, this isn't going to happen again at this school. Am I right in thinking that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you, if you can remember, because I don't know how long ago was this, Mama?
Last year.
The video, it was I would say like middle of last school year. It was summer, so it was probably early middle of last year. I couldn't tell you what month it was, honestly, but it
Yeah.
was, they start in August, so
Probably right around then. Yeah.
somewhere around there. Yeah.
So how did the rest of your school year go, Krew?
Pretty good.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of friends?
A lot.
You did.
One of
Oh, go
one
ahead.
of his he goes to like an after school program, and one of the little girls came up to me. They had a family night and we were there, and she was like, "Are you Krew's mom?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Are him and Elliot cousins?" And I was like, "No." And she said, "They tell everyone they are." And then she said, "Krew's the most popular kid in first grade." And then she just ran away. And I asked Krew about it, and he was like, "That's not true." But you probably have a lot of friends.
The last time we ever said it was like in the middle of the school year.
What, that you said you were cousins? Yeah. Yeah, it's all right. You might as well be cousins.
Because you're that good at friends. I used to tell people that my best friends were my cousins too.
I didn't know we were cousins.
Oh, you thought you were?
Yeah.
That's okay. It's all right.
Well, when you have friends that you're around a lot, even outside of school, they kind of become like family a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was your favorite part about being in first grade?
What was your favorite part of the whole year?
Probably being student.
Probably being student of the month, he said.
Being student of the month. What happens for student of the month? Do you get your picture?
Yeah, and then you have the picture like on the wall, and then
Mommy got a certification that's on the fridge.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, they didn't like have an award ceremony or anything. They actually didn't even tell me. We went for a choir performance or something one night, and I saw it in the cafeteria, and I was like, "Why did you not tell me?" And he was like, "I didn't know I was supposed to." That's exciting news.
Krew, do you know the word hero? What is if somebody were to call you a hero, what does that mean to you?
I'm a superhero.
A superhero. What do superheroes do?
Help people and save people.
They do. And are they afraid? No. No, they're not afraid. They typically have something called courage. Do you know what courage means?
No.
Courage means acting even though you may be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the absence of fear, but it's acting in spite of it. And so when you are a hero, you have a quality called courage. And you are 6 years old, and you spoke to thousands and thousands of people, heard what you had to say about protecting the girls, and they called you a hero.
Yeah, there were so many comments saying that you were a hero. And to give you
yeah, so many. And maybe Mama can read some of them to you. Save this and then read it every year, probably at the beginning of a school year, and remind you of how brave, how when you stand up for others that may not be as strong as you really change their lives for the better. And I'm sorry that happened to you with the bullying, but I mean, I think every one of us in this world has had bullying. So, usually, do you know anything about bullies?
Not really.
No.
I've never been a bully, so.
You've never been a bully, right? because you treat people kind. Yes. And typically they say when people are mean to each other, or when somebody is mean to someone, it's because they're hurting. For some reason, they're hurting. And when they're hurting, they lash out and try to hurt other people.
Yep.
Do you have any brothers and sisters?
I only have one brother,
Is he older or younger?
younger.
Oh,
He's outside with dad right now because he wouldn't let us do this interview if he was in here.
right. How old is he?
He's only 4.
He's only 4 and you're 6.
No, I'm
7.
7.
You're
He's
7 now.
He was 6 when the video was recorded, but yeah, he turned 7 in December.
Mm-hmm. What was it really cool to see your face on the screen? What yeah, what did you think?
What'd you think whenever I showed you?
I was like, whoa.
I was like, whoa. He had another video a couple years ago that was on ridiculousness, and he thought that was the coolest thing in the world. And he told everyone he still tells everyone that he's famous. So
Well, you are famous. You absolutely are famous.
he's very, very known. Yeah.
And your mama is a lot of people have complimented your mom because you know, there aren't as many moms as strong as your mom to raise such a fine young man. What else do you want to say to me? What else do you want to talk about?
Anything? What are you thinking? What? Oh, you can tell her. Tell her what happened. You want me to start it? He wants to tell you that on Friday we were swimming at our cousin's in-ground pool. Keep going.
And
She's your cousin. She's your cousin.
My cousin fell into the pool. She was like, how old was she?
She's not even 2 yet.
She's not even 2. And she fell into the pool, and she was small. So she fell in face first, and then I jumped in and then got her out.
He did.
Really?
He beat all the adults over there. Yeah.
Really?
I was like the only kid in the pool.
Mhm.
Blake was in there too.
Yeah, he was. Yes, he did. He just snatched her up and held her by her bikini, and
then one of the big people jumped in and then made a huge wave, and
Yeah.
I was still holding her.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. You saved your little cousin.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. You're exactly what other people have been saying, that you are a hero and we need more kids like you.
So true.
It is. And Mama, how that, yes, Krew. I love it. I want to hear more stories. Do you have any other stories? They don't have to be as fantastic hero stories as that.
Anytime.
I don't think so.
What about when you had your surgery?
I was a little kid. You couldn't get
Okay. Yeah, you were little, but do you have any other ones that you're thinking of? No,
think so.
he doesn't think he can think of any more stories.
Should your mom and I talk? And then if you hear us talk, you can step in and say whatever you want. Yeah. Okay. You want to sit here and listen to your mama and I talk?
Yeah.
Or do you want to go play?
You can go play with Bubby. Yeah. Okay. He's like, I want to go play.
He's like, this is a little much.
He's like, that was good. I'm good. Time out.
So you look very young to me. Are you a young mom?
I did. I got pregnant at 20. Had him when I was I had just turned 21. I turned 21 in November. I had him in December. And around that time, I was like the first one from my hometown to get pregnant that young. It wasn't as common as it is now. So a lot of people talked about it and, you know, said that I was not going to be a good mom and that, you know, thank you. He said, but you are a good mom.
Oh, I love that.
What are you looking for, baby? Okay, we'll just go out there. You'll be okay. Oh, it's right here. It's right here. But yeah, so I had him pretty young, and it hasn't been easy at all. He when he was 6 months old, we found out that he had a skull deformality, I guess you could call it. He was born without a soft spot. So he had skull surgery at 8 months old. It was an 8-hour long skull surgery. It was awful. Recovery was awful. His eyes were swollen shut for probably close to 2 weeks. It was the worst thing ever. And me being as young as I was, it was that much harder. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But yeah, he beat all the odds. They said it's called metopic craniosynostosis, and there's different forms of it, but he had the one straight down the middle. And they said that he would be delayed and to expect all that, but he never was. I mean, he surpassed every milestone way before he was supposed to. So I think that made Krew and I that much stronger. And just being a young single mom with him, you know, I've had to play both the mother and the father role, and I feel like I've done a good job. And when I see on the internet other people saying that I have it, it does make me feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you, I had my first son when I was 16, and then I had my daughter when I was 20. So I can relate to you, and it's not easy, you know, especially, I mean, I left the abusive relationship, you know, that was my story. And I said, man, if I'm doing this all on my own and you're trying to control me, well, then I might as well just do it on my own.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Were you with Krew's dad? Did you try?
We dated, we were only together for about 3 months actually, before I got pregnant. We stayed together until Krew was about 1.5 years, I think. And we co-parented well in the very beginning. And then just as time went on, you know, I moved on to a relationship with my now fiance. And around that time when him and I got together, he just kind of like, you know, typical dad things. And we're going through legal things now that Krew's almost 8 years old. So I don't know how much I should share, but
yeah,
it's always been me.
It's always been you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you say in your town, what state are you in?
Indiana.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Brownsburg, Indiana. Now I live in like a teeny tiny little town called Monrovia. It's about 25 minutes from Brownsburg. I just didn't like Brownsburg. I graduated early and I dipped.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And when you get compliments, I mean, I think for me, you know, I when I was raising the kids, I was, you know, obviously super young compared to most of the moms there. And I always felt like, not that I had to do better than they did, because I didn't think it was a competition, but I don't care if I was 16 or if I was 40, my kid was going to be behaved.
Yes.
And throughout, you know, these last 32 years, because that's how old my oldest is now, I would always hear that you're doing a good job. They always want my kids to come over and play with their friends. And so they were always invited because they said that they were well behaved and they were respectful. How did you instill that in him? Do you have any parenting tips?
I honestly wish that I could give you some, but I think Krew is just set in Krew's way. And I think because I was a young single mom, I instilled things in him that I would want to see in a future man. You know what I mean? respecting women, listening to your elders, listening to things that all people should have in their brains, but sometimes just don't. And he's never given me a hard time. He's never, he's my angel baby.
Mhm.
I would like to sit here and say like I take all credit for this, but I really just got lucky with him. You know what I mean?
Well, yes, I do. And I know what you mean. And I know how easy it is to say about, getting lucky. But I think it's way more than that. Now that I'm almost 50, I can, and I was a mom again at 35.
Mhm.
So looking through being 16, 20, 35 and having adult children and still teenagers, it's, you can easily look back and see what types of things you instilled in him and why they are the way they are today. So, when we come back from break, I want to talk more about that, because I think in this world of participation trophies and this woke culture, I think that's why Krew really spoke to people, because people are desperate to have a voice again, and they feel like it's been silent. So we'll talk more about that when we come back from break. But guys, thank you so much for listening to me. I'm your host, Nurse Jody O'Malley, and you're listening to Nurses Out Loud. We are on air 5 days a week with a different nurse host daily, and all of our shows go to podcasts. We want to equip, inform, and empower you guys to have a voice. And I absolutely love sharing little hero stories with you as well. So make sure you are checking out americaoutloud.shop and checking out our family of sponsors, because I know a lot of you, some of the products that we carry in our store, you're purchasing outside of here, and you might as well purchase through us and get an exclusive discount and keep our lights on, so to speak. So we will be right back after the break. All right. Yes, Kristen. Yeah, let's talk about that. What are some qualities we'd like to see or you'd like to see in a man? And hopefully you have that with your fiance.
Oh yeah, I guess if I could, make every man think and behave the way that Krew thinks about everything. It's not even just, men shouldn't put their hands on women. It's just everything. He's just got this little brain that I just wish that I could like pick apart into little pieces and then just like put in a man. And I do. Everything about my fiance is wonderful. I think the biggest thing that is that everyone should have a voice. And I think that Krew, aside from the problems that he had in kindergarten, as he's gotten older, he's learned to use that voice. When he was getting bullied in kindergarten, he never told the teachers, and that's why he was coming home and telling me. And I told him, like, baby, you're doing everything right, but just tell the teachers, because I'm not at school with you. I can't help you at school, so I guess he used his voice, and he told the teacher this year when that kid, smacked him in the back of the neck and then took matters into his own hands when the other little boys were touching little girls at recess. So yeah, I think just, setting boundaries and being a voice, and Krew's very, very good at all of that. So
yeah. And I'll tell you, I think I got in my first fight in the second or third grade, where I had black eyes. I was jumped. I feel like I was an adult, but I'm looking back and it's like, I don't know, I was 7 years old, 8 years old.
Yeah.
And ever since then, when that happened and I came home looking the way I did, my eyes both swollen shut, my dad had said to me, don't you ever come home looking like that again.
That's how my dad raised me.
He did. Yeah. And he was like, if you need to pick up a bottle, he goes, I don't care, but
Yeah.
you protect yourself. And from that point on, I was a minority in the schools that I was at. I left one public school, went to another public school, wound up having to go to a Catholic school. And in that time, I think I got in like 4 fights. And that was because I never started them. I never antagonized them, but I never backed down. And I knew what I was made of at that point. And so when we hear, you know, people, oh, you should never lay your hands on someone, violence is never the answer. I don't really, I mean, as much as I love Jesus and he is my my guiding light, I don't really fall in line with that, because sometimes you do need to set an example, or you know, to put somebody in their place. And then on top of it comes the confidence and self-esteem within you to know what is acceptable, what's not, what you're capable of, right? And I think, and I don't know if you know about my story, but I was a nurse in a federal hospital with the Native Americans, and they were dying 7 times more than Americans during COVID. Okay. They lost 7 years off of their lifespan. And I was seeing this and nobody was recognizing this. And after going for about a year of being in the twilight zone and questioning my own sanity, because I was like one in a few hundred people that were feeling like this, I knew I had to take matters into my own hands. And I recorded a conversation with the pharmacist who denied filling a safe medication. And the reason why I recorded that is because I wanted to make sure that what I was hearing was what she said. Right. So when you spoke about recording Krew, I mean, that really kind of resonated with me. But I say this all to drive home the point. I know what I'm made of. Yeah. I know what I'm capable of. And nobody is going to dangle a paycheck over my head and get me to comply. And I think it was because of the courage that I had throughout my life, you know?
You're back. He's back.
Oh, you're back. Okay.
Back in. The sun's really in her room here.
Yeah, so I think it was the courage that I had to act, you know, many, many times, that when I, you know, was 46 years old, I was like, I'm not gonna, certainly at the age of 46, you're not going to tell me what I can and cannot do when it's a complete violation of moral and ethical principles.
Absolutely. When you said that your dad said that to you whenever you came home, my dad always said, I mean, from probably Krew's age on, he was like, you better never start a fight. But if you don't finish the fight, that's when we're going to have a problem. And so I've lived by that. And I tried to explain that to him a little bit. He doesn't want to get in trouble at school. So we're still working on that aspect of things. But he knows what's right and what's wrong. And he'll always stand up for that, I think. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're not afraid, because you're a superhero. And they say not all superheroes wear capes.
It's true.
But yeah, so being a young mom, raising a fine young man is, the world needs more of them, right? What are your thoughts and opinions? You're in the Midwest. I was in Chicago, so pretty much same type of mindset. Are you seeing a lot of like woke agenda kind of stuff?
Yeah, every day.
Every day.
That's all that I see on my For You page is everyone's different versions of, you know, woke agenda. As far as what are you talking about though?
Well, let's talk about boys and girls. Is there a difference between biologically a boy and a girl and well, we know that there's a difference. Let's not say that. Let's say, is his teaching talking about like a boy can be a girl and a girl can be a boy? Do they talk about that?
To my knowledge, he has never said anything, and they've never said anything, like sent anything home about it. I haven't really touched base with Krew about that. But I have always told him, you know, if you want to buy a baby doll, I will get you a baby doll. Baby dolls aren't just for girls, you know what I mean? So
I have a bunch of baby dolls.
if he sees something that he likes and it's pink, I get it for him, because I'm not going to put into his brain like that pink is only for girls. Like, I'm not going to dress him in a dress, you know
blue?
what I mean? Like,
You
within
like blue?
reason. I like blue and I'm a girl. Yeah.
Right.
So he understands that. As far as teaching, I hope they don't. These are fragile little brains in there, okay? And they're not old enough or mature enough to know what any of that means. So I hope they don't talk about any of that.
Baby toys.
I
didn't say baby toys.
Okay.
What did he say?
He even sees baby toys that he wants.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Krew, you are such a confident little man. At the age of 6, you don't really have a care in what other people. Well, let me ask you, do you care about what other people think about you?
No.
No. Why?
Why don't you care? You gotta speak a little louder.
Yeah, I gotta hear you.
Probably because they're mean, he said. So if someone came up and was like, I don't like that shirt that you're wearing, what would you say?
I don't like that shirt that you're wearing.
Yeah.
So, bye-bye.
He's cute. Yeah, well, that's kind of a big, have you heard about a lot of people pulling kids out of school and homeschooling them?
A lot of people in a school kind of nearby. It's a little bit further out, more in the country, which is surprising to me. But I had a couple clients that told me that they pulled their kids out of school because they were allowing litter boxes in the school because children were identifying as cats.
Okay. So this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, this is happening in Indiana?
I mean, like, I never saw on like a news article or anything like that, but I had 2 clients say that they pulled their kids out and they were either switching schools or homeschooling because the school was allowing that. Yeah. Yeah. My kids don't go to that school. So,
well, and here's the thing about it is that parents don't know unless your kid is coming home and telling you. But then again, if they're normalizing it in school, they're not going to come home.
They're not going to come home and tell you. Yeah.
No. And so then you start thinking, like, I pulled my son out in 6th grade. He's a freshman now, but in 6th grade, I pulled him out. That was in 2020 when they were wanting to put masks on kids. And I knew professionally that they did not work. And I was afraid of what harm they were going to cause, physiologically and mentally. Yeah. And let me tell you, I work in the emergency room now, and I'll see a whole family come in, but it's that 3, 4, 5-year-old that is wearing a mask and the rest of the family doesn't have it on.
Yeah.
So you see what I'm talking about here is like these kids from 1 year old, they're used to seeing it. And now it's their comfort level. And now at 5, it's just normal to them and they don't want to take it off.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. That's why I wanted to ask you about any woke stuff, because certainly saying I'm a cat and I need a litter box in school is pure insanity to most of us.
When I heard that the first time, I was like, you're kidding. Like, someone just told you that. And then I had another girl come in and say, and I was like, okay, this is actually happening, which is, that's crazy to me. That's pretty insane.
Yeah. Well, hey, Krew, At your school, do you have kids that think that they're cats or dogs?
You do?
Mhm.
Like they actually think that, or they just like to like play cats and dogs? Yeah, they like to play cats and dogs.
But they're always acting like
Or they're always
Always.
acting like it. Always. Okay.
Like, what do you mean? Like they go around barking or meowing or
I'm sticking their tongue out.
I'm sticking their tongue out.
and sticking their tongue out like, and then they shake their little booty like it's their tail.
Oh, no. Kids like in your grade or kids that are older?
Older, younger, and in my grade.
Okay.
Hmm.
This is news to me.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's kind of where the push is, like, that, or not push, but the movement of people pulling them out, because realizing like, oh my gosh, do we even really know what's happening? And how is, I remember I went to this one school and this teacher pulled up like a PowerPoint and it said like 2,000 hours and 600 hours, something like that. And she said, do you know what the difference is here? And, or what these numbers represent? And we're like, no. And she said, 2,000 hours is the number of hours your kid spends with me in a year. And 600 hours is the amount that they spend with you.
I'm with you, yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, wow. And then she started talking about, now your kid's out of school for 6-8 hours a day. Then they give them homework. So now the family time is interrupted.
I've always thought that homework was completely overrated. Who wants to go to school all day for 8 hours and then come home and do that and then spend an hour before you go to bed?
Yep.
I think it's so stupid. I've always, even growing up, I felt that way. I'm like, I feel like my whole life is just schoolwork. And then after you graduate, then you go to college and then you're doing the same thing for another 3, 4, 5, 6 years, depending on what you do. Last year, they got a blue folder on Monday that had between 10 to 12 sheets in it, and it was due on Friday. So we had all week to do it, but it wasn't graded.
Oh.
So several weeks we didn't do any.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about.
And
And
he
it's
still
like,
got all A's even without having to learn off homework. And the
Mhm.
way that they teach nowadays, he's like, I need help with this, and I have no idea what I'm even doing.
Ah.
So different. So different.
Well, and you think so different. I mean, you're 26 years old?
28.
Yeah, 28. So you think 28 years old, that wasn't that long ago since you were in school.
No, 10 years I graduated.
Yeah.
Years.
And so how is it so different that not even someone in their 20s can say, oh, I remember this?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I have to call my mom to talk to my little sister. She's 12. And hey, can you help me with this? Because I have no idea what this is. What? Presley.
Yeah. Well, I am really happy to meet you, Krew. I just wanted to tell you, because I know that you're bouncing all around, coming in and out of the room. I just want you to remember how you made people feel. There's a saying by a famous person. Her name is Maya Angelou. And she said, people may not remember what you say, but they'll remember how you make them feel. And that certainly is a superpower of yours. You have such an ability to tell a story and to use your voice and to step out in courage that I want to personally encourage you to keep on. I tell people all the time, I say, because so many people are afraid to talk, right? They're afraid because they say, I'm going to lose my best friend. My sister won't talk to me anymore if I say what I truly want to say, or I might lose my job. And so they keep their voices silent and they never speak out But honey, I want you to continue to use your voice. And as long as we're speaking out in love and kindness, right? Sometimes maybe what we have to say, you know, people will be like, oh, I don't know. Like, that sounds kind of mean. But if you do it from your heart and you know that your heart and your intentions are pure, you can say and do anything.
Mhm. Right?
Yes. Do you want more brothers and sisters?
I only want like 2 more sisters.
He
Only,
really
Mom.
wants on me to have 2 baby girls.
Okay.
Yes.
So you got 2 more to go.
Yes.
Krew, do you know what you want to be when you grow up? No.
What about it? What you think, maybe?
Maybe a painter.
A painter. He's a really good artist. He's a very good artist. So
Oh,
he likes drawing and stuff, painting.
and
Yeah, that's
painting.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So you have a artistic side of you too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Maybe, you know what people were saying is that Krew should be president of the United States of America.
I did.
And there's also
President.
Krew for president. Yes, you just always stay humble. Never gloat about what people say about you, but always keep it inside, knowing how you make people feel.
Mhm.
But yeah, Mom, I think Krew would probably be a good example of like the benefits of homeschooling, because yeah, don't discount it. I mean, for me, I was so nervous. I had never done it. I was like, what program? I don't want him sitting in front of the computer for 6 hours a day, but it truly is not like that. I mean, with my son over the last 2 years, from say 7th and 8th grade, let's take, maybe sometimes he has three or 4 classes in one day. Maybe sometimes he has 0. Sometimes he only has 2. And when I just spoke with the math teacher, I had no idea that he had finished sophomore math. So, you know, and he's in 8th grade. And I'm like, really? But then I call up the school because he plays sports there.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll homeschool him. And then at the last, you know, maybe junior, senior year, I'll send him to the public school and let him just have a high school diploma.
Yeah.
Right. And they said that no matter what, even if he came into the school with calculus, he would have to take 4 years of math. And I'm like, how does that even make sense?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
At
So,
all.
and what do you do for a living?
So I own a salon. I'm an esthetician, and I opened up a salon in 2022. I've been, what? 2022, I did. Yeah, it's been almost 2 years. And I am just did all my prereqs, and I start nursing school in August so that I can do the medical side of aesthetics, do Botox and filler and all of that.
Oh, stop it. So you want to be a nurse?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's lovely.
I know,
We
I'm
need more
super
good.
excited.
Yes. So
Yeah.
so you're finishing your prereqs now?
I finished my prereqs in February, took my T's and applied for the nursing program in April. And then I just got notified last week that I got into my first choice where I wanted to go. So I start in August.
Do you have to get the COVID vaccine to be in school?
So you don't have to get the COVID vaccine. I actually just looked at the paperwork. There's like a tuberculosis test, I think maybe a flu shot, maybe the COVID vaccine, and then something, but you can opt out. You don't have to take it. You just have to sign a waiver saying that you opt out of it.
Nice.
I won't be doing that, so.
You won't. No, tell me why. A young woman like you.
I've never got the flu shot. I've never had the flu. My kids have never had the flu shot. They've never had the flu. You know, no. we wash our hands, we do normal staying clean precautions. I think that our body needs, I don't know. I'm honestly not educated enough on the vaccine to want to get the vaccine. So maybe in 30 years when it's been out longer, but I was pregnant during COVID. I was pregnant with my youngest. So
Oh, yes.
yeah, that's him crying in the background.
Uh-huh.
I obviously did not want to do it when I was pregnant. Like immediately, I was like, absolutely not. And then I just have never felt the need to get it. I had COVID in 2021. I tested positive for it. I was lucky enough to be asymptomatic. I didn't have any symptoms. No one in my house got sick, but no one else in the house has thankfully gotten COVID. And I don't know. I feel like
It's like your instinct
type of girl. Yeah. Just whenever I take them to get their vaccines, you know, as kids, I made the pediatrician split them up into 2 different things. Cause I feel like 5 vaccines in one day is it's a lot. And I feel like I just asked them if they would, but they've never had flu shots either. And thankfully they've never gotten the flu. So
yeah. There's a whole lot to research on that. And you know, obviously this is not the conversation to do it with,
right.
But I will say to, stick with your gut, your instinct, because even those tests, the swabs, they're experimental.
Yeah.
And they don't tell us anything other than you have a fragment of the virus. It has nothing to do with symptoms and clinical significance of being able to infect someone else. And I think we need more courageous nurses of integrity.
Absolutely.
And I am so happy to hear that you want to be a nurse and that you're going to be a nurse, and that you have us, you have the 4 of us here on Nurses Out Loud. I would also love to follow your journey through nursing school.
Absolutely. I start in August and I start a week before my wedding. So pray for me there, but I'll be okay. I'm fine. I was a CNA for 5 years. What?
I can't hear you, Krew.
Can you come to what?
Can I come when you're a nurse?
Can you come where?
To your work.
Yeah.
Yes. I think we need to have more. I was actually going to talk to my work about bringing my kid there on shift.
He comes to work with me at the salon. It's a little different than a hospital, but he comes to work with me every day in the summer. We don't do daycare and stuff in the summer. We like to spend some time together. So yeah, he comes to work with me every day, and he's the front desk worker.
Oh, I love it.
Him, so
you're what?
I don't have to pay him, so
well, right? You can, and you could write off $12,000 a year.
I could, yes. Didn't think about that.
But no, Kiersten, thank you. It was such a pleasure. Thank you for doing this, and I sincerely mean to reach out and as a resource, or you know, if you have any questions or anything like that. We can even talk about tips, because I've only been a nurse for 10 years.
Okay.
So nursing school is still very much a PTSD experience in my mind.
I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I mean, I barely passed my TEAS test, but I made the president's list every single semester. I had a 4.0. So I was not nervous to take the TEAS test. And then the TEAS test was in front of me. And I think I passed with like 3 points, but a pass is a pass. So that's
a pass. Yeah. Hey, listen, a C nurse is better usually than an A nurse.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
C's get degrees.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. And I'm going to strive to be that.
All right, guys. Well, this was awesome. And look, I mean, I had no idea. That's why I like having conversations authentically, that you listening to us at the same time and we get to know one another. And I hope that the story of Krew stepping up really inspired you to use your own voice. And I know there was thousands of comments on there that people say, oh, like he took me back. He healed my inner child, they were saying.
Yeah.
And so that's just amazing. Well, until next time, friends, be safe, be well, and God bless you and Mr. Krew.
Thank you so much. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye.